Are you in the market for a new karaoke machine? Because this might be exactly what you need. This here is the new Ikarao Break X1. Today we're going to be checking it out and seeing how it sounds, how it is to use, and if I think you should get one. All that's soon to come, but if you guys could please like and subscribe, that would be really awesome and help me out as a small channel. But with all that out of the way, let's get into this. Okay, so let's get right into this and see the basics. So this is a karaoke machine, and it comes with two built-in microphones, the speakers in the front, and of course the thing that makes this unique, the built-in screen. So basically what this thing is a Google Play tablet attached to the karaoke machine, built in, and it controls all the lights, all the sound effects for the microphone, the volume, and lets you play things. So it really is a all-contained package. It weighs about 24 pounds and it puts out about 100 watts of power from the speakers. So it is pretty loud and can easily fill pretty much any sort of situation you want to. So now that we know the basics, let's get into the most important part, to me at least. How does this thing sound? And actually, I'm going to say it sounds really, really good. So it has one main woofer and then two tweeters, and I'm going to say it definitely puts out a lot of sound. So both the highs and mids are really clear, and the bass is pretty solid. And it does have a bass boost option if you want to push it to the max. But I think this thing, even in smaller spaces, sounds really good and doesn't overpower them. So I think it does a good job with that. But in pretty much any situation you'd want to use it, I think it'll definitely sound really good. The sound has a really good distance too, so it definitely could fill an outdoor event. Also, speaking of sound, the microphones themselves, they sound really good. I will say they're not as nice as the JBL ones. These are entirely metal, and where these are plastic. But for what they are really solid, and the cool part about them is they charge based off the bottom. So when you slot them into the speaker, they just charge, and every time you want to use them, it's basically on a full charge already. On the microphone itself, it has the power button, and then it also has plus and minus. So you can individually change the volumes of the microphones, and that isn't impacted by the volume of the overall machine. So you basically can do mixing to make sure that the volume of the machine and the volume of the microphones levels out, and you can still hear the music and the voice, which is really nice and a very, I think, a convenient way to do it. Instead of having like a bunch of controls up here, it's actually built into the microphone. Also working with the microphones, it actually has built-in effects. So now I'm going to play some recordings of both the actual microphone itself and like speaking into that, just so you guys get a better idea. I'm probably going to go through each of the modes, and I'm going to have just music playing out of the speakers so you get a better idea. Obviously, it doesn't go through one-to-one because like my microphone and then like your headphones will affect how it sounds, but people always ask for it, so I figured I may as well put it in there. Okay, so I'm going to go through the different sound effects now. So we're going to start out with original.
KTV mode.
KTV mode. I'm not sure exactly what KTV stands for, but it sounds like a little echoed and, I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be on TV.
Super reverb mode.
Super reverb mode. So we got lots of reverb. So much fun.
Popular singing mode.
I assume this is supposed to be pop music sound. It sounds pretty similar to KTV in all honesty, but cool.
Professional mode.
We got professional mode, so this is supposed to be like professional TV, I assume, or like professional singing.
Cartoon mode.
And then like I already showed, we have cartoon.
Monster mode.
Monster mode. So those are pretty much all the effects, and now I'm going to play some actual music on there, and then I'm also going to try to talk over some music. I'm not going to sing because nobody wants to see that, but I'm going to kind of give you a rundown.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a bad chick. All the boys stare, can't help it, it's a habit. Clothes that she wears, short skirt and a jacket. I just wanna get her all alone on a mattress. I just wanna have it, I just gotta have it. Rumors all around say her body is fantastic. All natural, not a piece of rubber's plastic. Head to her toes, yeah, they say that she's a latch. Yeah, the whispers all around say she has a reputation. Don't believe it till they...
Hello, hello, hello! No one wants to hear me sing, so let's put it together. You can also change the actual mode on the microphone by tapping the power button on either one of them, but one thing I will say is you can't have one mode on one microphone and one mode on another. So that would be kind of cool, but they do not offer it. As well, another thing they do offer up here is the microphone. It does ducking, so when you start talking, it'll like lower the volume of the music. I'm not sure if you really want that at all times, but it's definitely cool to have the option, especially in physical buttons. And you can also change the mode of the microphone by pressing like 5 physical buttons. There's like 7 or 8 different options, but there's only 5 or 6 buttons, depending on like if you count the custom mode as button. So now that we did that and know how it sounds, let's get into the usability, because I think that's really what sets this thing apart, is the screen on top of it. That's what makes it unique. And if it's not any good, then that doesn't really make a ton of, like, there's not a whole lot of point in this machine. But I actually think it is really good. It's not the most amazing screen in the world. The black levels are really high and its resolution isn't crazy high. But I to be honest, for what it is, I think it is more than enough. And I can't really complain even, because the black levels are high, but the screen is really, really bright. Like, you can see it right now on the film lights. And like, if you take it outside in the sunlight, you can still see it. I mean, it's not easy to see, but it is pretty good. The viewing angles aren't amazing either, but I mean, the fact that it works in bright light is more than enough for me. And I think, especially considering like what this thing's going to be used for, no one's going to really complain. Getting onto the usability experience, I really think that, so what this is apparently is Google Android, like an Android tablet, but running a skin. And I think that it actually works surprisingly well. It's got all the features you would want built into their UI, and it's actually got a built-in button to contact support if you need it. So it does come with some installed apps. So it comes with Spotify and it comes with YouTube, and those are the main ones I've used. They do have a couple others, so you go here, and they have Star Maker, WeTV, and Smule. I've never heard of any of them. I had checked them out a little bit, and it seems like mostly they're just karaoke apps, but some parts of them are paid, and it's like not the most elegant experience. But realistically, I mean, if you want them, they're there. And I would imagine, at least myself, when I use this thing, I'm using it in the sense that I just like open up a YouTube karaoke video and press go. And it works great for that. So, I mean, you could go on your own and do the other things, and I think it can record and stuff like that, and you can like have accounts and stuff. It is fully featured. Although I question at that point whether or not that's like the most elegant experience, because then you just like, it's got so many things that I don't know. Personally, I just want to like have fun with the thing. I don't want to have to like set up a ton of stuff. But the option is there if you're interested. Now, continuing on with usability, it does have like a ton of ports on the back. So you can put in like guitars, microphones, amps, all that stuff, and you can actually externally like put the screen. So if you wanted to connect this up to your TV and have it like go out to a TV so that the screen's bigger, you are capable of doing it. It does have an HDMI port on the back. And continuing on with usability, this thing, I mean, speaking of the ports, like around the ports there, it's not IP rated, so I'm not sure what the actual waterproof rating is, but it does have big rubber seals on all of the ports to cover them. So I wouldn't expect to get broken in the rain. I mean, I wouldn't obviously go dunk it in a water tank, but I think that it is going to be more than like adequately protected against like at least mild weather. Okay, one other cool feature that I want to point out here is it does have different lighting effects. So you can scroll through them and there's like a bunch of different ones. It's not doing a ton now because I'm not playing music. Now getting on to who it's for, I really think that this would be a prime thing for obviously people who like karaoke. I feel like that's a given. If you like karaoke, this thing has got pretty much everything you need. And it does it really well. It is a little bit expensive, but we'll start talking about that closer to the conclusion. But like alternatively, I think people who want to like go camping and like watch TV and stuff on it, if you have like a cell phone plan, I definitely see you being able to just bring this thing along, set it up at your campsite, and watch some TV on it, and just like, it's like a mobile TV. And I mean, you could say an iPad could do that too, but especially if you want like more loud sound and stuff, and I mean, obviously not going hiking with this thing, but I think it could do a really great job there. And also, I also, this is my other thing, I think that this would be an awesome thing for like maybe camp counselors to have, because I think the kids would love karaoke. The music's loud, which I mean, hey, maybe the counselors don't like, but I'm sure the kids will. And it seems really, really durable. Like all of it is like really like high quality plastic and metal, and like it does feel pretty solid. And there's no, other than around the screen, there's no piano black. So it's not like it's gonna get like scratched up the instant you start using it, which I think is the most annoying thing about some speakers. So I love what they've done with this. Moving on to compare it to some of the other things I've used over the time, the main and closest comparison I would have would be the JBL Party Box Encore. So it's like about probably half the size of this thing, and it does put out like a lot of noise. So I'd say it is definitely not as loud and doesn't sound as good, especially in confined spaces. Just something about it, the way the sound design was done, it just gets like boomy in small spaces, and I just don't really like it that much for that. But it does a really great job otherwise, and it is like $400. I think that this is basically, if you want the screen and that's what you're interested in, I think this makes a great compelling argument for doing it, and I think it's a great implementation of that. I've had a great experience using it. But the other thing is a couple $100 cheaper, so if you just wanted to use your phone and you didn't really care that much, maybe that's something you should go for. It really depends. But I think that they did a really good job with this, and I think it's a very, I don't know. So I'll get into the conclusion here a little bit, but they're supposedly a startup, and they're going to try to start an Indiegogo. So they sent this out to me beforehand. So this is a pre-production unit. I think that if this is something you're interested in, you should definitely go check them out. I'm going to go put their link in the description, so if you want to go check them out, you can definitely go do so. Obviously, it's Indiegogo, so you can't always be positive, but they seem like a fairly big company. Either way, I think that this is a great product, and if you really are interested, you should definitely go check them out. They did a really great job with this thing, and I mean, it is expensive though. That is the only thing I will say. I'm sure you could get all of the features in this in multiple devices, but as a unit itself, if you're looking for like a plug-and-play solution that's like a one-time object and you just buy it and then you're good to go, I think this does a really great job. So that's pretty much all I have for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. But that's all I have. So thank you guys so much for watching. That's pretty much all I have this time. But if you guys could subscribe for next time, that'd be awesome. And see you later.